Hello and welcome to Neil's Spanish Flybox. I hope you're all well. A few weeks ago I tied an olive emerger using Gutermann thread number 431. That emerger is a super little fly, but it has to be fished in fairly settled water. If you are going to fish a 431 in less than settled, an uneven surface, or maybe with some foam, then you'll need to tie it parachute style, and that's what we're going to tie today. Now the materials that I'm going to be using, of course, are the Gutermann 431, which is an olive type thread. I'm going to use a blue dun hackle for the parachute. For the post I'll be using some antron, and for the rib some yellow thread. Right, now in the vise I have a size 18 hook, so I'm going to use a finer thread. This is a 10-0 in grey olive. I'm going to start the tie a little bit back from the eye so as not to conflict with the parachute. Now for the tail, you could use a piece of the actual silk, or in this example I'm going to be using some blue dun hackle. All you need to do is just take off a few fibres from the side of the stem and tear them off. Now you don't want this tail too long, because as it's a small fly you're going to be using probably 7x, possibly 8x, and light lines are inclined to catch, light tippet that is, around tails and the like when you're casting, so not too long on the tail. I'll just trim off the butts. Right, I'm going to take off one section of the thread. There are 3 strands to the thread, or to the silk, so I'm just going to take off one. There. And as I said, for the rib, some yellow thread. Right. I'll tie in the rib. And tie in the silk. And wind up to the thorax area. Right, I'll just wind on move that out of the way, wind on the silk. And the thickness of the body is really your own personal preference. I like to have it just a little bit thicker at the front of the body. There we go, something like that. Tie that off. Trim it off. And now the yellow rib. And tie that off. And trim it up. Right, now for the post, you can really use whatever you like. I'm using this antron body. I'm not going to need all of that, because it's quite a small fly, so I'm going to split that in half. You could use some Glow Bright. You can really use whatever you want, whatever your favourite posting material is. I'll just tie that in. And put a few wraps around the base. As I said, for the parachute I'm going to be using a blue dun hackle. This is just from a neck. You don't want anything too wide. If you have a wider hackle, it's sometimes difficult to lift it off of the surface, especially if it's in the middle of foam. It seems to get a bit of traction and difficult to get off. Looks about right. So I'm just going to clean that up at the bottom. Take all the fluff off. Trim up the stalk. And tie it in. Put a few wraps around the base of that as well. To give it the post effect. And trim up that stalk, just push it up. Right, now for the thorax, I'm going to use the same as I used on the other 431, the emerger. I'm going to use a mix of the material, the Gutermann 431, and some hairs here. Just dab that on. Make sure we have enough. I think that would be more than enough there. Right, and just build up the head a little bit. Right, now for your wrapping of the parachute, you can use whatever type of hackle pliers you want. I happen to have these to hand, so that's what I'm going to use. Starting closer to the top and working it down underneath. Oh, sorry, I hit the camera. Now, how much hackle you use is entirely up to you. I think that's enough for me. Right, pull all that back. Right. And trim off the hackle. Get rid of those hackles that are pointing forward. Right, now I'm going to tie it off with a half-hitched tool. Trim that up. And I'm going to put on a bit of super glue just to keep the thread in place. That's enough, don't need to do it all the way around. And now trim this to length, your own preference. You can always trim it again at the river if you so desire. Hairdressing there. Alright, I'm going to pick out a little bit of this thorax underneath. And there you have the finished fly. As I said, you can tie it in various sizes. An 18 is probably the best size, but there's one in the 16 using the silk as a tail. And it certainly is the fly to use, especially if it's raining as well. When you have CDC wings, they don't hold up too well in the rain, but this will compared with the CDC. I hope you enjoyed that. If you're not already a subscriber, please push the button and subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and if you want to make any comment in the comment section, please do so, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.